Hi, this following video shows you how to change the rear oil seal on a passenger side, left-hand side of a United Kingdom spec Ford Transit. It happens to be a T350 long wheelbase van. It's 2012, Mk7. This oil seal had reputedly been changed on my last MOT, and I used the van a few times last week, and I noticed that the tyre was wet. Initially I thought it was some animals urinating on it, but anyway, it turned out to be gear oil, and this is how I changed it. I'm not saying it's professional or anything like that, but anyway, I've got it all done. Some steps I forgot to show exactly, all the pieces, because I only was using my iPhone, and obviously I didn't have a stand for it, so I took it in little batches and then stitched it all together. So I hope this helps you. If you've got the same problem with your van, it's not too difficult as long as you buy this 65mm socket, which is 3/4 drive, and I advise you to buy new bearings as well. I did. I bought new bearings, so inner and outer bearings, and a paper gasket that goes on, and what else? Oh, some little screws, because you'll see in the video anyway, there's 3 little screws, and they tend to be totally stuffed, as mine were. I didn't know if they were or not, because I never took it off to have a look, but anyway, it turned out to be good insurance to buy these because they were kaput. And I've seen on somebody else's video that you had to chisel them off, so you don't want to do that if you can help it. So if you've got all the bits, then it's not so bad. The only thing I forgot about was buying some oil, but I changed it in the end. It's not difficult. There's a little 1/4 drive plug in the middle of the diff cover on the back. You just unscrew that. It wasn't very tight. And then the oil you buy, it's got like a plastic tube that comes out. You stick that in, squirt the oil in until it starts coming out. Mine took less than 1 litre. I did buy 2 litres, but anyway, it took less. So obviously that's how much it had leaked out. It looks a lot more because this oil just spreads everywhere. But anyway, watch the video, and hopefully it'll help you. This is my 2012 Ford Transit, and sadly it's got an oil leak from the end of the axle on the left hand side. So I've undone the wheel nuts and we'll take the wheel off and have a look what's underneath. The leak is bad, as you can see. It's everywhere, and what's worse is the nuts look like they've been mullered a bit, so I'm going to have a bit of a problem getting them off. Let's have a look. Surprisingly, they did come off. I used this attachment on my drill. Can't see very well. Yeah, fitted in there quite nicely, even though they're mullered. So anyway, they've been off before, I think. So now I should be able to take the half shaft out. Okay, got the half shaft out. Looked like a strange gasket that was in there. The one I've got to replace is paper. This looks like silicone, and I'm not sure if that seal is in the right way around. So I've got to take the brakes off now and then have a look again. Right, now take the brake caliper off. So it's hanging back there. So this is all loose now. Now you've got to get this huge nut off, and to do that you need this. Not cheap. 65mm socket, 3/4 drive, plus this huge bar, which I'm hoping will get it off. Also, you've got to note, on this side of the van, i.e. the passenger side, to undo it, you don't turn it left, you turn it right, clockwise. So anyway, let's have a go, see how it goes. Okay, the big bar got the nut off easily, but then I used an adapter to put a 1/2" drive, because it's hard work using this blooming great big long lever. So you only really need that to break the initial torque. After that you can use a normal ratchet, which is what I've done. And this is the huge great nut. You can see it's not very old either, but obviously that seal does not look to be seated properly to me. Anyway, I'm going to change it. Okay, you need to be careful now, because obviously this is the bearing, You don't want to lose it, so gently pull this off and then take the bearing out. Got the hub off and the seal was falling to bits, so obviously it's been replaced, but it's been replaced wrongly. Shit job. So now I've got to try and get this out and then clean it up and put the new one on. Got the old seal out. I had to use a screwdriver to sort of prise it all out. So I'm just going to clean everything off here, take all this old silicone off and put the new one in. Right, this is the hub. Cleaned all the inside off, put the new seal in, put a new bearing in first, then I put the new seal in, gently tapping it round, all the way round, and then I used a piece of wood to go round there with a hammer, all the way round, slowly, and it all looks to be on fine now, so it's ready to go back on the hub, which I've cleaned as well, and so it's time to reassemble it. Let's sit and hopefully no more leaks. Right, got the hub back on and just loosely put the nut on. You need to be, it's very difficult to get this thing to center properly, so it took me a couple of attempts. Anyway, it's on now. So now tighten this up, remembering it tightens up this way because I'm on the passenger side. Right, just tightening it up now. As you can see, you need a big long bar to get this thing tightened up, and then you need to torque it down. So anyway, let's carry on. Right, put the gasket on and now pushing the half shaft in, at which time I will put some new screws in because the original ones were all stripped. I'll show you in a minute. Okay. Right, new screws are on, obviously very nice, no problem. Don't do them too tight. Now ready to put the brakes back on. These are the original ones that held the half shaft in, and you can see there. These are the nice new ones. Right, all the brakes are back on. You can see it's all tightened up. The only thing I've got to do now is put the wheel back on. There's the old bearings and the old nut, and then top it up with oil, which I haven't got at the moment. So basically I'm going to put the wheel back on and then go and get some oil. And you can see all the blooming stuff you need to do. It's not an easy job, but if you take it to a garage it costs a fortune. It still costs quite a lot of money because the socket was about £35 and the pry bar was about £35. Then I had to buy the bearings, the seal, and the new nut and the 3 screws, so it's still more than £100, but anyway, it's a lot cheaper than in a garage. I've sprayed gunk all over the wheel because obviously it's covered in oil, and I want to see if it stays clear. So like I say before, I'm going to put the wheel on and then go get some oil.